hell is the Survivor Series in a couple of weeks? This year is just going way too fast, but also has been the slowest 12-month period in memory. See, it makes no sense. It's like smacking yourself in the head over and over again and then wondering why you got a bruise. But we have had another episode of Monday Night Raw, so it's time to take this, the finger of power, and get the good bits and up and the bad bits down. With me, Simon Miller. I've got no hair. Yes, I know. Always in the comments. I get it. I have been going through it for a while. And also, we need to set the scene for Friday when we do retro ups and downs. Because you have chosen WrestleMania 18, which of course is Hogan versus The Rock, Survivor Series 1990, which ties into this Survivor Series, 30 years since of The Undertaker, and that would have been his debut. Bad Blood 97, that came out of nowhere, and sticking in that year, you also want to do Survivor Series 1997, which of course would be the Montreal Screwjob. If you pick that one, what the hell am I even going to say? Everything has been said. But it is your choice, so make sure you head over to the community tab right now and give it a vote. Otherwise, let's up those downs for Monday Night Raw. Some of the stuff that we are told by the commentary team. As The Miz and Morrison were making their way to the ring to start Monday Night Raw, it transpired the main event was going to be Drew McIntyre and The New Day taking on Randy Orton, Miz and Morrison. And I was like, Randy Orton would never team with those two goofs. He'd be like, I have no interest in it. He would be pissed off with them in seconds. For no reason whatsoever, though, we were also told that we're going to get a non-title match between Asuka and Nia Jax. And Byron Saxton actually said, well, if the title was on the line, this would be WrestleMania main event worthy. And I was like, one, no, it's not. And two, we've seen that match before, and it never headlined or even had any kind of mainstay on WrestleMania. And I figured it out. Hello, my name is Simon Miller. This is The Hat of Dreams, and welcome to Sometimes People on WWE TV just say things and they do it like this. They get their magic hat of dreams, they have a bunch of words in there, and they pull it out and they go, Asuka versus Nia Jax would be a, oh, hang on, no, would be a WrestleMania main event. And then they just say it because it's The Hat of Dreams. And then what did I just say? Before Miz and Morrison could barely get a word out came Randy Orton, and he was so livid that he was going to have to team with these two doofuses. It's obviously doubly bad because The Miz is Mr. Money in the Bank and Randy Orton ain't going to like that. And then the Viper went on about how, oh, you were only able to do this because of your buddies in Stamford. And I was like, how the hell has that storyline manifested itself with no explanation whatsoever? Because The Miz screwed over Mandy Rose, The Miz screwed over Otis, now he's doing this because of his buddies in corporate. How and when and why? Orton was also so mad that he told The Miz years ago they all kicked him out the locker room and they should never have gone back on that. And then he looked at John Morrison and said, and you left the company to go to the minor leagues. I'm so bored of that rhetoric. During his absence from WWE, John Morrison was on international television. Randy didn't give a shit, so he basically offered Miz a free shot to get this over and done with. But Miz and Morrison were like, dude, you gotta calm down. Tonight we're gonna be buddy, pal. We wanna be on your side, especially because if we beat the New Day, we can go after the tag team championships instead. I was like, yeah, right. That's like catching your girlfriend sexting someone else and she goes, I'm only doing it because I wanted to see if you'd like it. Bullshit. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods eventually arrived because it is the start of Raw and this is exactly what we have to do every single week. And they kind of look like idiots because as soon as they had done their bit on the microphone, they got in the ring and Randy Orton dropped Kofi Kingston with an RKO. Honestly did it in around about 3.2 seconds. McIntyre was then here and he went after Orton, but The Miz hit him with the Money in the Bank and then they were like, Randy, do you want to be friends now? And he went, no. And he just walked off by himself. I do want to say that Orton was really, really great here and I genuinely believe that he was in a bad mood. But it's just the same thing every single week and I don't understand why The Miz and Morrison would be in this position because over the last couple of shows, they've just lost. It was just too predictable and it was too generic and it's getting it down. And now, if you will, please do bow your heads with me as we say goodbye to another friend. And that is, of course, because Matt Riddle was out here, but he is no longer known as Matt Riddle and he is just Riddle. So Matt or Matthew or Matty or Matt Boy, whatever you want to call it, we want to say thank you for your time, thank you for the memories, thank you for the effort you put in, and maybe one day we will see you again. Rest in peace, Matt. Yep, as rumoured, Matt Riddle is now Riddle, and if we are this close, we may as well just add an R to the end, turn him into the Riddler, and be done with it. And I get loads of people are mad, but who really cares? We'll get used to it before long. It doesn't really matter. Also, we were getting Riddle versus Elias versus Jeff Hardy to see who was going to be the newest member of Team Survivor Series, and it was fine. It was even a bit fun. Up. Elias did his guitar shtick, the ling ding ding, to begin with, and I don't know why he even got this opportunity, because Jeff Hardy beat him last week, but apparently wins and losses don't matter. It's true. And just to keep a long story short, Matt Riddle won after he hit the bro Derek on Elias. It was alright. He also did need it because he has been on a little bit of a losing streak recently, and then to tie into this, we went backstage and AJ Styles was talking and shaking Adam Pearce's hand. So what is that about? Eventually came Sheamus and came Braun Strowman, and they don't want Matt Riddle to be on the team. Oops, sorry, Riddle. And they also don't want AJ Styles to be the captain. AJ was like, look, don't worry about it. I've organised a meeting for later. And although it did sound like one of those situations at your work when somebody organises a meeting just to have a meeting, I quite like that because it's exactly what someone like AJ Styles wouldn't do. Also, Braun Strowman talked normally here. He didn't come in and go, I don't want him on a team. He was nice and calm. Hopefully he's learning. Promo with Retribution as well. Mustaffa Ali congratulated Ricochet for standing tall. And Mia Yim referenced Asuka. So listen to me, WWE. You need to sort that feud out yesterday. It's what we all need. R-Truth then won back the 24/7 title. Now, I want to make it very clear. I think R-Truth is a hero. I think R-Truth is a legend. I think you could put R-Truth in any single spot on the card and he would somehow make it work. But everything here is just done. There's no clear idea anymore. It feels like we're just going round and round and round in a circle. Getting down. But Drew Gulak approached the Hurt Business because he wanted to be in the group, and then it turned out he was wearing a clip-on tie, and because the Hurt Business dressed smart, they didn't like it, so they beat him up, and then poof, R-Truth popped up, and he pinned him. And we're not even done. We kind of do this exact same skit in around about 20 minutes. What also kind of irked me as well is that if you did a proper feud between Drew Gulak and R-Truth, that would be awesome. Just saying. Shayna Baszler then defeated Lana. I honestly think it went around about 90 seconds and all the story with the women just kind of feels thrown together or like somebody used the Hat of Dreams. Down. Of course, her and Nia Jax were then going to throw Lana through the table, but Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke could be on commentary, stop them. And then the back, all those three fell out. And if you want to know why, I don't know. It's because like, I'm on the same team, they don't want to be on the same team, and Lana's really annoying. I don't know any of this was. We then had this Raw meeting, and while it did look like the most ridiculous thing you'd ever seen, because everybody was just stood looking at the camera this way and no meeting would be conducted like that, I do have to say this. Was it incredibly goofy? Yes. Was it dumb? Yes. Did a few times I kind of facepalm and go, oh my gosh, this is a little bit awkward? Yes. But AJ Styles held it together so well, I'm kind of giving it an up in spite of itself. But either way, it's an up. And it also kind of ties into the women's segment we just talked about, because while they're falling out and they have to try and fit it in like a 30-second backstage spot, here, this went around about 8 minutes. You could argue that was actually a little bit too long. But it basically came down to the fact that Riddle was going to give everybody nicknames, and while he was all nice to the baby faces, when he got to Sheamus, he called him like Firehead or Fireface, because, you know, he's ginger. Sheamus was like, you can't say that to me because I'm ginger. And Riddle was like, it's not that. It's because when you get mad, your face goes all red. And Keith Lee was all like, that's really funny. It wasn't. But like I say, it was Styles that made this all together because he was just freaking out like, would everybody calm down? I really want to win at Survivor Series. And right now, you're not allowing me to do it. And then the stupidest decision he ever came up with, the reason he was chatting to Adam Pearce earlier was because he'd made a match between those four and he thought this was going to get them on the same page. I mean, how dumb is that? But that's why I was chuckling away. AJ Styles' ego is just running wild, but he plays it perfectly. And there was Strowman and Sheamus taking on Keith Lee and Riddle, but also AJ Styles was the special guest referee. And once more, it was full of tomfoolery, but I did enjoy myself. Up. There was this ludicrous bit where AJ Styles got crushed by Strowman and Lee, and because he was down, his associate just got up into the apron, and then when we went to commercial and came back, AJ was fine, and his associate was just back down on the floor. So I have absolutely no idea what happened there, and really WWE, you need to fill in the blanks. Keith Lee was allowed to be awesome though, and he was throwing everybody around, including his own partner. He just picked up Riddle at one point and chucked them onto everybody else. Yeah. When it came to the finish, it did end with the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up which Riddle did to Sheamus. But I will say this, once again, that's 2 wins for Riddle in one evening, and he needed stuff like that. And to be fair to WWE, it's been a while since we saw the roll-up board. But we're still not putting it away. It's still there. That's up to number 88, so we are still well on course to go over 100 by the end of 2020. And don't forget, we start in March. Nikki Cross was then a very, very bad friend. She must have been listening and taking advice from Rey Mysterio, because she found Alexa Bliss and was like, listen, Lexi, I know a lot of what's happened is my fault, but I don't care. Your ultimatum is you have to choose the Fiend or you have to choose me. So Alexa went, all right, I choose him, and she skipped off. Serves you right, Nikki. Serves you right. The Hurt Business were out next, or at least Bobby Lashley and MVP were, and that's when we learned that next week, Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin are going to take on the New Day for the Tag Team Championships. I'm quite intrigued about that. What I wasn't expecting was what followed. Because of all people, they were interrupted by Titus O'Neil. And do not forget, Titus didn't get attacked by the Hurt Business last week. I think it may have even been 3 weeks ago. So he has just sat around from somewhere between 14 and 21 days being like, I can't believe what the Hurt Business did. Should I go out there? No, I'm going to sit, I'm going to stew, I'm going to stew, I'm going to stew. And today it was like, I have stewed enough, I am going to have a word. He demanded respect, which MVP didn't offer, but what he did say was, why don't you face Bobby Lashley for the United States title right now? And I actually think it lasted 37 seconds. Down. It was kind of made worse because O'Neil is so big, Bobby Lashley struggled to get the Hurt Lock in, and eventually he did tap out to this, but he was tapping the whole time. Because he couldn't get the move in properly, they were kind of just swinging all over the place. I mean, these things happen, but I was laughing my ass off. It kind of looked like a squirrel that was turning into a man. Like, it was kind of mutating, but it was really, really struggling. It did not look smooth, and I do not know why Bobby Lashley just had to destroy Titus O'Neil. Poor Titus O'Neil. He's so damn lovable, and this is what he gets. We then had a great segment with Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, though. WWE has been teasing this the last couple of weeks, and they're also letting you know that they used to be friends. They were over here in the UK smashing up the indie scene, and maybe once they deal with their current problems, they'll get back together and go and smash something else. Now, obviously, Sheamus is going to turn on Drew, but maybe when McIntyre wins the belt back, we get Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus. That's another name for Drew to run through. I bet they have some terrific matches. And honestly, watching this would just fill you with glee. You were warm and fuzzy and your tum-tum is getting it up. And flood me, we need to have a chat. Let's sit down. Hello, WWE. It's Simon Miller here, the bored asshole, putting on a silly voice. Not intentionally, I'm just trying to achieve the gravitas that I want to achieve. We need to start having real winners and real losers. And I know, what do I know? I have no sense, I'm a moron, my opinion doesn't matter, you've been smashing it for years. But now every time I watch a match in WWE, I go, well, is it going to end by roll-up? Is it going to end by DQ? And here it was another disqualification. And I just now, when I start watching, I don't believe I'm going to get a real winner. I don't know what's happened to my voice here. Please, just start having clean finishes. I rip off my own head. You just give me a clean finish. Thanks. So yes, Nia Jax versus Asuka, the WrestleMania main event, ended in a DQ. Down. Yep, as always, as soon as Asuka had the Asuka lock on Nia Jax, Baszler got in the ring, she attacked, this match was thrown out, it was a disqualification, and it just meant nothing. And of course, then what did we do? We put Lana through the table. Now, this is not how stories work. This is not how stories progress. Imagine I had a book and it said chapter 1, end of chapter 1 was Lana went through the table. Chapter 2, end is Lana went through the table. Chapter 3, Lana went through the table. Chapter 49, Lana went through the table. Chapter 2, Lana goes through the table. 104, Lana goes through the table. End of book, Lana goes through the table. You would take it and you would burn it for fire because you'd be like, what a crappy evolution that was. It didn't go anywhere, and why did this woman keep going through the table? I don't really understand any of this, and I'm imploring someone to please help me. Angel Garza then had another promo, and the long and the short of it is he wants to have sex with every woman in the world. I mean, good luck with that, Angel Garza. Your thing is going to be Red Raw, but I guess it's appropriate for the show that you're on. because you're on Raw, the colour of the brand is red. And then for no reason, to the point that not even R-Truth or the commentators knew why, they actually said that on commentary. Why is this coming? We don't understand. The 24/7 title was on the line between 7 people. Don't worry, as ever, I figured it out. It was me, I did it, the wizard in the sky, always making sense of nonsensical booking of WWE TV. I just saw all these people on Raw not doing anything, and I went, Halabashi! And I put them in a 7-man 24/7 title match, even though the 24/7 title can be defended at any time, so why the hell would you ever have an official match? Well, I tell you why, because I have the power, and it was me. Look at my great hood, I can be all like Vince McMahon, like, ha ha, it was me, Ben, it was me all along. And then Jim Ross goes, oh, son of a bitch. Happy times, wizard in the sky. It was Truth, Gulak, Eric from the Viking Raiders, the Lucha House Party, and all people, Tucker. Poor Tucker. He's had no resolution to his feud with Otis. Again, we clearly just did that because we needed to get the briefcase off that guy, and here he was, winning and losing the 24/7 title. That's basically what happened. R-Truth won it, Drew Gulak won it, somebody else won it, just went round and round and round and round and round and round, and eventually R-Truth held on to the thing. So we got nowhere. It's Google mapping to your house when you're already at home, and it's getting it down. Ali and Ricochet, however, then flipping killed it up. Obviously, we had a bunch of nonsense with Retribution on the outside because that's what they do. So did you know how Ricochet took them out? He climbed to the top rope and he did the craziest corkscrew jumping thingy-majig I have ever seen in my life. This was more beautiful than anybody I've ever dated. I mean, that's hyperbole, but I was wowed. Otherwise, they just had an awesome back and forth where they may as well just held up a sign that said, look, we're 2 really, really good wrestlers. We should be featured more. Just let us have matches. Fans will tune into this, and they would have been absolutely right. Sadly, Ricochet did go for a Phoenix Splash, and he missed entirely. Man, he smashed right down on the canvas, and then Ali, of all things, knocked him out and made him pass out with a submission move. He came across like a badass. This was tremendous. And then, stuff just happened. Ever wonder why a man all of a sudden transforms halfway through a video and starts holding the microphone instead of clipping it to himself, even though the name of the microphone is a clip mic? Well, it's because sometimes, like in wrestling, stuff just happens. So if you're wondering why Randy Orton was told by Adam Pearce from nowhere, by the way, Randy, you have to have a title match with Drew McIntyre next week, just remember that stuff just happens. And if you are struggling with this and you need some help, please call us on 0800 Stuff Just Happens. Someone is always ready to take your call. Other times they're not, but again, stuff just happens. To capitalize on that announcement, though, we did have the 6-man tag main event, which was Drew McIntyre teaming up with The Miz and Morrison to take on Drew McIntyre and The New Day. This was good. Owen wouldn't get in the ring because he was so scared and intimidated by Drew McIntyre, even though Drew was desperate to have a fight with him. And anytime McIntyre did anything, he just stared at Randy Orton as he was on ringside as if Randy was a brand new bicycle that Drew McIntyre got for Christmas, and he'd locked it outside his house, but he was so worried somebody was going to steal it, he kept looking like, is it still there? Is it still there? Thank goodness it's still there. And that was kind of the major takeaway from this, other than everybody just having a good fisticuff brawl. And yeah, eventually Drew McIntyre hit John Morrison with the Claymore kick and beat him. That made me a little bit sad because last week I thought there was a reason we didn't pin John Morrison. I was wrong. Drew taunted Randy to end the show as the commentators went, next week we're having a WWE title match. And I still don't understand why we're doing that, but I will say I really enjoy the fact that McIntyre is always standing tall at the end of Raw or involved in some kind of big angle. He's the best babyface. He'll be the best second-time champion when he does get it back. He's just a dude you can root for. And that, to me, is okay. When it does come to Raw overall, though, it's one of those shows where you don't really understand why a lot of the things that did happen, probably because they were just made up at the very, very last second. But I wasn't bored. Raw's obviously too long, because 3 hours, extra 60 minutes is just too much. But it's going to get an up, but it's kind of an up where the arrow's a bit like that. It's more Raw middle. I'm feeling in a positive mood, as always, so it's an up. Kinda, no, but yes. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below. What the hell is going on with all this 666? That's it. I'm going to figure it out. Leave it to me, the bald asshole. I will figure it out. But look, yeah, subscribe, like, leave a comment. Head over to WhatCulture.com. Read yourself some articles. Follow WhatCulture on Twitter, WhatCulture WWE. What do? Watch more videos here on WhatCulture Wrestling. It's really getting to me. Where's my detective hat? We'll figure it out. My name is Simon for WhatCulture. Don't forget to vote in that retro poll. I'll see you when I see you.